how egregious and disgusting. Not a single vote cast for Kamala Harris. She can't be trusted. We need to swamp the vote. We will find you, we will track you down, and we will prosecute you to the full extent of the law. We can never see another election like 2020 ever happen again.
I'm so excited to be speaking again to one of all the Trumps. She's like top probably 2 or 3 at this point in time. And we got some really great Trumps. I don't know if you know. Did you see?
Got good ones.
Yeah, we got good ones. Don Jr., by the way, was in Seoul, Korea, and he was like a rock star. He came out on stage with like a K-pop hero. It was
I didn't even know about this. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Wow, I got to catch up on my Don gossip.
Yeah. You got to follow him on Instagram because he's always posting. But welcome back to Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, co-chair of the RNC, former President Trump's daughter-in-law, host of The Right View, and all-around fantastic person, Lara Trump.
Thank you. Oh, and the applause. Thank you.
I gotta get like an applause sound effect or something to make it seem like there's an audience. But how are you doing?
Well, we're a little crazy. 68 days until the most critical election of anyone's lifetime now. But we're doing great. I'm very blessed in so many ways, and I'm honored to have this position as co-chair of the RNC, as you just said. And we've worked really hard, Mark, over the course of the time that I've been in this position to make sure that we have a free, fair, and transparent election. We want every person, no matter how it is you're planning to vote in this election, to feel like your vote matters and your vote counts, whether you're voting early, in person, whether you're voting by mail, or whether you're voting on Election Day. And let's face it, we can't have Kamala Harris as president of the United States. It would be an utter disaster for our country. So we're working hard, but we're feeling good and excited to get moving with early voting and all of it very soon. I
mean, it is a disaster having Kamala Harris as vice president of the United States.
Bad enough.
Having her as president would be the end of the republic for sure. Let's talk about early voting since you brought it up, and that's one of my big hot buttons. And we still get a lot of pushback on the right. There's still a lot of old school Republicans that treat Election Day as this monumental, untouchable occasion, and they're waiting and they're waiting. And I've tried to hammer it home that that's when the water mains break. That's when the voting machines just happen to go down, or they run out of ballots. What is your message to those people, those old school Republican thinkers who are like, no, it's Election Day. That's when I'm going. That's what I'm waiting for.
Well, and I hear that. I understand that. There is an excitement around Election Day, and you'll hear Donald Trump himself say November 5th is the most important day in the history of America. And he means that by whether you're voting by mail, voting early, or voting on Election Day, that election in and of itself obviously is going to be critical. But you're exactly right, Mark. Look at a state like Arizona. Remember back to the race that Kaye Lake did not win.
Yes.
What happened on Election Day? You had that very red precinct where you had all of the machines fail in this one area, and you had lines wrapped around the block. These are largely Republican voters. People have to get back to life. I have 2 kids. People have work. You have life situations happen. You get sick. Kaye Lake may have won that election had those people, instead of waiting until that day, come and voted early for her instead of waiting till Election Day. You look at Nevada. There was a recent election there where there was an ice storm in Nevada, of all things, and it did prevent a lot of people from going and casting their ballot. What we want to encourage people to do from the RNC and the Trump campaign is make a plan. And whether that plan is that you can't leave your house, so you want to request a mail-in ballot, whether it's going and voting early in person, Eric and I are going to go vote early in person. I think you may even see Donald Trump himself go vote early in person.
He did in the primary here in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you want to go vote on Election Day, great, but make sure you have a plan and you stick to that plan. And then if you can vote early, we say get your vote banked and then encourage other people to go vote, whether it's people at church, people at your grocery store, people at your kids' school, whatever it is. We need to swamp the vote, and that is how we make it too big to rig. We actually have a great website. If you're wondering, am I registered to vote? How do I request a mail-in ballot? Where are my voting locations? SwampTheVoteUSA.com. Again, SwampTheVoteUSA.com. If we all wait until Election Day to go cast a ballot, we're going to be playing catch up, and we don't want to do that. We're going to have to start beating the Democrats at their own game. And we know they always beat us in early voting. We know they beat us in things like ballot harvesting, which is why we're going to be doing legal ballot harvesting this election cycle, ballot chasing, anything we can possibly do. We're going to have to do it better than the Democrats because we know they're very slippery in their tactics oftentimes.
We want to encourage
everyone.
We're only doing the legal ballot harvesting? Is that what I heard you say? Not the illegal ballot harvesting?
Yeah.
Okay,
we can only do the legal stuff, but whatever they're doing on the other side, I don't know.
I'm still trying to figure out how they caused that ice storm in Nevada, which, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I've long said they figured out how to control the weather. Lara Trump, co-chair of the RNC. Listen, the debate, okay? I made plans. I'm going to be in Philadelphia September 10th for this debate.
Oh.
And I booked my trip and I booked my hotel and I hired a videographer. And then all of a sudden, maybe the debate wasn't happening because somebody was trying to change the rules. This thing's going to happen, right? We're prepped. We're ready to go. We're making plans.
Well, Donald Trump is prepped. Donald Trump is ready to go. He's been ready to go. He said anytime, anywhere, any place. He did the earliest debate in the history of politics with Joe Biden on June 27th, and it was a knockout punch. Joe's done.
Ended great.
His career is over. Yeah, it's over for Joe Biden. It took Donald Trump one debate to knock that guy out. And I think you look at what Kamala Harris and her campaign were trying to do in this ABC News debate. It seemed like they wanted to make sure she had all of her notes and everything in front of her. They wanted to sit down. They wanted notes. They wanted all these little things that'll make it better for Kamala. And Donald Trump said, listen, I agreed to these rules that you guys came up with on the Democrat side for the debates in the first place. I agreed to them months ago. You already changed your candidate. We're not changing the rules again. We're going to do the rules as you actually asked me to do them in the very beginning. So it sounds like we're settled. It sounds like, I guess Kamala is going to show up. Donald Trump, by the way, will be on September 4th at a Fox News debate.
Right.
He says if Kamala wants to be at that one, he'll be ready. I guess they'll do a town hall if she doesn't show up. But look, he wants more debates. He wants the American people to actually hear from him and from Kamala Harris. And let's compare and contrast their ideas and their leadership in this country. Who wants to vote for 4 more years of what we've just been through, Mark? I sure don't. I know the American people don't, but they do want the days of Donald Trump back. They want more money in their pocket, a secure southern border, which, by the way, I guess Kamala Harris is now pro-border wall.
Yeah, pro-border wall.
She's still in no tax on tips, the whole thing.
Oh, she doesn't want electric vehicles now. Did you know that?
You know what? None of it's surprising, I'm sure. And she'll probably think that J.D. Vance is her running mate very soon if she's kind of going down this path. We'll see.
What, by the way, which reminds me now, is she allowed to bring Tim Walz to the debate too? Because she had to bring him to this interview tonight on CNN. It's like her emotional support VP. It's crazy.
She can't be trusted to do any of this. That's the problem they really are going to have. Look, they did the whole sunshine, lollipops, rainbows, and jazz hands routine at the DNC, right? We all saw what they did. She had a great teleprompter right in front of her. And if you need Kamala Harris to say anything, you just put it on that teleprompter. Even if it says price gauging, not price gouging, she will read price gauging, Mark. Whether or not she knows what it means, we don't know.
She doesn't know.
She can't be trusted. In these interview settings. This is a pre-taped interview, and she's going to have, the buffer of her running mate there with her as well. So, this is going to be the most softball coddled interview I'm sure any of us have ever seen. But it only took her 38 days to do it. So I guess we should all be so grateful to see Kamala.
In 2016, I interviewed Eric about the debate that never happened in Miami. And he said they should have clear podiums so that we don't see any notes or hidden wires on Joe Biden's podium. And that Fox News picked that up and it went viral. I'm sending them the whole price gauging thing now. And hopefully we can get the same kind of traction. Listen, the ground game, a lot of people, are concerned about the ground game. And I hear people say, it doesn't matter if I vote or early vote. It doesn't matter about the debates. The fix is in. They're gonna do what they did last time. We're all gonna go to bed with Donald Trump winning the Rust Belt, and we're all gonna wake up and Joe Biden's gonna be way ahead. We have measures in place. You and Michael Watley and everyone else, you've been working diligently on that not happening. Is that right?
Oh, that's exactly right. Look, from the first day I took this position as co-chair of the RNC, it's been the number one focus, election integrity. Because let's face it, Mark, we can never see another election like 2020 ever happen again. The fact that you have half the country saying, I don't know if I can trust our electoral process. Look, it's integral to who we are as a country to trust that. Otherwise, we really can't call ourselves the United States of America. Now, we know we can't turn to the Democrats for that. So we at the RNC have made it our number one priority. We have recruited 165,000 people to be volunteer poll watchers,
Wow.
poll workers. These
Yeah.
are people who work in the polling locations, people to have them in the tabulation centers where the mail-in ballots come in, legal experts on the ground. So we're not waiting a day, a week, a month after you see an issue. We're going to strike right there in that moment and address that issue. And we did a test run in a lot of the primaries across the country of this plan and the system we have in place. And we did address a lot of issues even during the primaries. We need our people out across the country. And I mean our people as in every American,
Yeah.
whether you're voting Republican, Democrat, or third party candidate, you should know when you cast a vote in the United States of America, your vote matters and your vote counts. And it has been our number one priority. By the way, we can always use more. Protectthevote.com is the website if you want to volunteer to be part of this team. So we need people every time a vote is cast and every time a vote is counted to have eyes on it. That's what we are pledging. And we also want to make sure that anyone out there who has any plans to do anything nefarious, here's your message. If you're a person who's willing to cheat in an election or you are an illegal citizen voting illegally in an election, we will find you, we will track you down, and we will prosecute you to the full extent of the law. And if you're illegally here, that also means you're going to be deported. So we want to make sure everybody knows that.
I will spread that message far and wide. Can we deport legal citizens too that cheat on voting? Because there's a couple people.
I mean, at this point, you know, you might as it's so anti-American. It's so upsetting that people are willing to do this. And by the way, I will say that Michael Whatley and I have extended the offer to our friends across the aisle at the DNC to come be part of this team with us to make sure that every American citizen feels like that voting matters and that there's no cheating in elections. I'm sure you're shocked, Mark. They have not responded on the other side at the DNC to come be part of this team.
I don't even think they have email over there. They never respond to anything. Hey, I'm glad you brought up the DNC. The last time I saw you was at the RNC. We had a blast. It was the best party I've been to in years. And thank you so much for hosting it. Thanks for having us because it was fantastic. And last time we were there, we played a little game at the end of your interview. And I know that you're so good at them. And I personally enjoy them. And so does the audience. So I have a little, we're not going to have you, we're not going to have you rate the men in your life again. This is a little simpler. All I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a statement, and then just to refresh everyone's memories about how the Democrat Party works versus the Republican Party, I just want you to answer whether it was the RNC or the DNC. You weren't at the DNC, right?
I have never been a part of the DNC, no, fortunately for all of us.
Thank God. Me neither. I skipped it. All right, so here we go. I'll read the sentence. You just tell me RNC or DNC. There's only 10. We'll see how many you can get right.
Oh, okay.
First one. Presidential candidate attended all 4 nights of the convention.
Oh, I know the answer to this one. That's the RNC. Yeah, that's Donald J. Trump did that one. You didn't see that from either the current president of the United States, Joe Biden. They ushered him right out. As quickly as they could get Joe out, they didn't want anybody to have any connection. And Kamala Harris, I don't know where the heck she was when all these people were speaking. Nowhere to be seen, but I digress. That was the RNC.
I like the commentary. That was good.
Yeah, I got more.
Yeah. Number 2, the nominee at the convention actually won all of their party's primaries.
I'm going to go with RNC. That'd be Donald Trump. Not a single vote cast for Kamala Harris. But go ahead. What else we got?
That was good. Had to call in 2 former presidents of the United States and Oprah Winfrey just to generate excitement.
Who would have done such a thing? Oh, the DNC. That's where they had to do that. We didn't have that at the RNC. Yeah.
That is also, you're good at this. Had an abortion van parked out front.
Now, this is a tough one. Yeah, that could be a toss-up. I'm just kidding. How egregious and disgusting. That was the DNC. You could get an abortion, a taco, and a vasectomy all in one shot there if you needed it. Because we know that women are not the only ones, according to the Democrats, who can get pregnant. Apparently men can too. So
yeah, that was the abortion, the taco, and the vasectomy. That was like the, they call that the supersize deal or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, you could supersize it for that. It's amazing.
You're doing great. Was held just days after the assassination attempt of President Donald Trump.
Just hours, 48 hours. That was the RNC and Donald Trump, who said, I don't know, maybe I'll get there midway through, said, no, I'm going to show up before the first day of the RNC. He showed up on Sunday night before the Republican National Convention. That was ours.
That's right. Didn't mention the assassination attempt on President Trump a single time.
Oh, but mention President Trump quite a bit. The full obsession, full Trump derangement syndrome. That's the DNC, of course. They couldn't help themselves. That's what they're running on, by the way, hating Donald Trump and vibes.
Isn't that wild? They mention him like so many times and never once mentioned the assassination attempt. That gets you thinking right there. Ran about 40 minutes late at least twice.
Yeah, DNC. And they made old Joe go out. I mean, it was well past prime time. Bless his heart. They must have had to give him an extra dose of whatever it is, because I know they had to keep him up late. Yeah,
bless his heart. Juice his heart is probably what they had to do. Ran right on schedule.
Oh, that would be the RNC, much like the Republicans want to run the country, much like the country was run under a Republican president, Donald J. Trump. Things on time, actually ahead of schedule oftentimes with Donald Trump in the office. Yeah.
And we all, by the way, for the attendees, we really appreciated that. Lied about Beyonce performing live.
We didn't need any hoaxes to get people to our convention, but the Democrats needed that. The way they packed those people in like sardines because they thought Beyonce was performing, and then a bit of a no-show. Or was she even supposed to show? Probably not.
And then finally featured the former and next president of the United States of America.
That was the RNC, and that man is Donald J. Trump.
I'm going to have to find harder games. You're so good at all of these. Co-chair of the RNC, host of The Right View. For more information about early voting, go to swampthevoteusa.com. Lara Trump, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. As always, so much fun. Such a great time. You're the best, Mark. Thank you.
Ditto back at you.